Hi, welcome to the third part of my 10-part series on divorce. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the legal grounds for a divorce in Nigeria. What are the legal reasons you need before you end your marriage? So, if you have been thinking about a divorce, or you're probably already in the process of a divorce, or you are just a curious person who wants to know more about this topic, then you want to watch this video to the end. So, let's just jump right into it. So, before we dive into the legal grounds for a divorce, you want to know that there is something called the 2 year rule. And what that 2 year rule states is that before your marriage is 2 years, you cannot get a divorce. So, for the first 2 years of your marriage, you cannot file for a divorce. The whole essence of that is that the law is trying to preserve the sanctity of marriage, it's trying to give parties the opportunity, to reconcile before they make that decision to get a divorce. Like when I was growing up, I had an auntie who told me at that time, and kind of just stuck with me till now. And she said something that I'll never forget. She said that 95% of the people that get married always get to regret it. It's either they regret it in the first 7 minutes, in the first 7 hours, or in the first 7 days, or even the first 7 years or more. But at some point in the marriage, they kind of just regret who they married or why they married, or for whatever reason, there's always like a feeling of regret. Now, what the law is really trying to do is that so that, when parties have that feeling, they are able to, within the first 2 years of their marriage, try their best to reconcile their differences. And it's also to prevent people from filing frivolous cases in court, so that for whatever reason you feel like, you want to end your marriage, you cannot just come to the court like that. But however, I don't know if you've ever heard of the phrase that says, for every rule, there is an exception. There is an exception. You can actually file for divorce before your marriage is 2 years on these two exceptions. Now, the first one is that if it will cause exceptional hardship on the other partner. The second one is if it's a case of severe depravity. Example is if there is severe, domestic violence, or if there is a betrayal of some sort, whether maybe when you got married, you discover that your wife is pregnant for another man or for her ex, and you discover in the marriage and you feel like, no, you cannot continue. But I think those are part of the reasons you can, file for divorce, and the court will actually, consider it. But if it doesn't fall under these two exceptions, just know that you have to wait till after your marriage is 2 years and above before you file for divorce. Now, the first ground for a divorce is a general rule, right? And it says that the marriage must have broken down irretrievably. That means that you have tried everything possible to save your marriage, and you feel like you and your partner can no longer reconcile. So that's the general rule. That is the first and major ground for a divorce. So the second one is that your partner has willfully, out of their own will, have willfully and continuously during the marriage refused to consummate the marriage. I know this might sound weird, but I've seen cases where they a couples get married, and the other partner refuses to sleep with the other person. Sometimes, in some cases, some of these people may have, fertility issues, and they will not tell their partner. They will hide it from their partner. And even in the marriage, they will continuously refuse to consummate the marriage. It is a legal ground for divorce, or for some reason, maybe probably, the parties or the couple had a misunderstanding, and the other partner is refusing to sleep with the other party, just to punish the person for whatever reason. It is a legal ground for divorce. The third one is adultery, which is the most common that I have seen so far. If your partner has continuously committed adultery, that's the law states that if your partner has continuously committed adultery, and you, that is the partner, can no longer stay with that person or can no longer live with that person. So the law knows that issues might arise as to another person might cheat on this other person. It says that okay, you can still reconcile, but where you feel like, because of that adultery, you don't think you can continue being married to that person, it is a valid legal ground for divorce. The fourth one is a blanket and it has other babies. It states that since the marriage, your partner has behaved in such a way that you can no longer be reasonably expected to live with that person. So, and this one has a lot of babies. Now, the law has given examples of what it means when they say you cannot, your partner has done something so bad that you cannot be reasonably expected to live with the person. The first one is that if your partner has committed rape, has committed sodomy or bestiality. And number two, if your partner is a habitual drunkard, that kind of drunkard that falls inside gutter, or that kind of drunkard that anytime your husband is drunk, he's always beating you, or is drunk to the point that you know he embarrasses you in public, or he cannot even get his life together for a continuous period of time. He's always getting drunk and he's always causing problem, and you cannot be reasonably expected to live with him. The third one is if he's always taking drugs, like if he's constantly using excessive sedatives or narcotics or drugs, or for a period of time, for a long period of time, he's always on drugs and he's always high and he's always doing things that he should ordinarily not be doing. And the person has been convicted of a crime of 3 years or more, or even after he has been convicted of a crime, let's say that he was convicted of a crime for, let's say, 1 year, and he came back to the house, but after that he was still convicted of another crime in the space of, let's say, like 5 years. He has been going in and out of jail, and ordinarily you've told yourself, you cannot continue to still be married to this person. That your other partner has attempted to murder you. Yes, he has attempted to kill you, or there's excessive domestic violence, and it will not be reasonable for you to remain there. For your own safety, and even for the is mentally unstable. Okay, let's say for a period of 6 years you've been living with that partner, and the person has been in and out of mental institutions, or you've tried your possible best and that person is mentally unstable. Sometimes the person can go for days, and they have diagnosed, you can't just make that conclusion yourself. That person has been clinically diagnosed of unsound mind for a period of 6 years, and you can no longer be reasonably expected to live with that person. Partner has deserted you for a continuous period, like the person just decides that they no longer want to be married to you and just get up and leave the marriage and abandon you. Let's say you have children too, and they just abandon you for a period of, even if it is 1 year or straight or accumulatively 1 year, they just desert you and leave you alone with no information or anything, and that that person is alive. They just choose to abandon you. Yes, you can come to the court and ask the court for a divorce. The parties to the marriage has lived apart. Let's say you and your partner have been separated for a period of 3 years or a period of 2 years before you file for this divorce. It is a legal ground. You have been separated, whether officially or unofficial. Restitution of conjugal rights, that is where you appeal to the court to let your partner consummate the marriage. Maybe you've tried everything and you don't want to go through divorce, but you have tried and said, okay, if this partner does not agree, I'm going to go to court and tell the court to make that person perform their marriage rights or consummate the marriage. For a period of 1 year, that person has refused, or let's say there's an order, the court will give an order, and that person has refused to comply with the order, then you can file for divorce, because it is not by force really. In issues of sex, the court can give an order, but you can't really force the other partner. Even if the person sees the order and they can't, and they still insist that they don't want to consummate the marriage, and then after a period of time you're tired of begging or asking, you can come to the court and say, you know what, I got married and my partner is unable to consummate the marriage. Where the person has been absent for such a time that you have the assumption that probably that person has died. In some cases, some people travel abroad, right? And for whatever reason, they stop contacting their family. They don't know. the other partner that they left behind doesn't know how to contact them. They've tried to reach them, they've waited for like 7 years, and that partner has been absent. Yes, it is a legal ground. You can file for divorce. Let me know in the comment section if this video was helpful. I hope this video was helpful. If it was helpful, you know what to do. Please make sure you subscribe. Comment down below if this series is making any sense to you. Don't forget to share, like, and give me a thumbs up if